Hello and welcome to our third Adobe Illustrator tutorial video. So for this tutorial video, we're going to discuss about pen tools. Now pen tool is very useful when it comes to creating lines, especially curved lines. So with pen tool you can produce straight line and curved lines. So we're going to discuss about that. We're going to basically go through how it works and how it functions. Now your pen tools is actually here with an icon that looks like a pen. So if you can see the tutorial that it shows on the screen, it already knows how it works. Okay, so just click on it and just go crazy about it for a while, and then that's how the pen tool works. If you look closely to this option, so make sure that you have your lines on, and at least your lines on, because if it's disabled, then and you try to use your pen tools, then it didn't shows anything, because it's still there, it still exists, but you can't see the line because the stroke is disabled. You need to enable the stroke first in order for you to see the existence of your vector subject. Okay, so you can also adjust the size of the lines or the strokes by playing with your wheels, but your cursor needs to be here, needs to be positioned on this particular bar and this particular position. Then you can basically play with your wheels, and then that will change the size of the stroke. Okay, same if you disable or enable the fields, and then it will change as well, and that will affect how it appear when you use the pen tools as well. See, if you enable the fill, then it will show something like this. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're not going to enable the fill just yet. We're just gonna work with lines for now, right? So let's just move this here, and then let's just look at how the lines is being produced using pen tools. Now you can produce a straight line with the pen tools, okay, and you can actually like stop right there by clicking escape or pressing escape, and then it's just stop. And the things about pen tools is that you can continue where you left on. Now if you move to the anchor point, is what we call anchor point, it's change into like a stroke. That means your next work, if you click on it, and it will continue from that strokes, or sorry, from that anchor point. Okay, and if you goes into like another end of the line, and then you can see it appear to have like a little circle next to the pen tools. That means it will close the loop, and it become the loops, and then you can start a new one, right? So that's what pen tools, that's how pen tools kind of like work. Okay, so you can produce, again, you can produce a straight line, but you can also produce a curve. So how do you produce a curve? Is by clicking and dragging the cursor. So clicking and dragging the cursor, and then you started to produce the curve. So if you just click on it without dragging, and it will not produce any curve, and then you started to have straight line again, and if you drag it again, you have your curve again, and then if you stop dragging, you just click on it, and then it will stop having any curve, then you close it. Okay, so that's how the pen tools works. There's another function that pen tools are really useful as well, is from straight line you can produce from already a straight line. You produce a straight line already, and you want to change it into a curved line. You can do so without producing any new lines. So while having your pen tools, while selecting your pen tools, you can click on alternate, hold on to it, and then go to the any lines, any straight lines, or any even curved lines. Still have this function on, and you can see that there is a like a curve next to the cursor, and just click on it, click on the line, and then you can drag it, and then it become a curve, right? See that? You can change any straight line into a curve, right? The key is to hold your alternate on your keyboard, alternate button on the keyboards, and then you can produce it, and you can change it however you want. So once you have a line as a curve, the nature of the line change, like it started to have another I would say options, and that is the handles. So when you have a line, particular line or any kind of line, you will have an anchor point and another anchor point. So these two anchor point is where your line started, right? And then once you have a curve, it will start to have handles. Then these handles is what determine where the curve sort of goes, okay? And you can edit these handles and anchor point, even change the position of an anchor point by having a direct selection tools turn on, right? So there's two selection tools. The selection tools, like just the selection tools, and also a direct selection tool. The shortcut for this is V. So regardless of what tools you have or what tools you are working right now, if you press V buttons on the keyboards, and then it goes straight to your selection tools, and if you press A, it will go to direct selection tools. Now, different between selection tool and direct selection tool is how they works. Now, selection tool will select one particular things as a whole, right? Like it will drag. If you drag it, it will drag as a whole, like one particular subject. Okay, but a direct selection tool, you can't select the whole things. It will not. If you drag it, it will not drag the whole thing. Instead, it will drag the particular line or particular subject, or I would say whether it's anchor point, either it's anchor point or line. So that's the difference between direct selection and selection tools. So when you want to edit anything, you know, your lines or your handles, that is where you use the direct selection tools. So over here, once you have that enabled, then you can start to play with the handles, and this will change your curve. Okay, so remember, when you have a strokes and it's a form of curve, it is always oh my god, it always have the anchor point and the handles, and then this is how you determine how the handles kind of work. Okay, moving on to next function with pen tools as well. Hold on, let me just move this out of the ways. We'll delete them afterwards anyway. Okay, I want to move you, like, go. Okay, cool. So we just pick one. Right. So in the selection tools, in the pen tools, if you look at it, there's a what do you call it now? If you go to the pen tools again, if you look at the cursor, next to a cursor there's a small star. When that happens, when you have that on your cursor or next to your cursor, it means that once you click, it will produce a new set of line, right? Yes, that means it's totally new. It is not related to any existing lines. But if you move to a selected line, you can see that star sort of change into a plus or an addition symbol. That means that if you click it, it will add the anchor line, or sorry, the anchor point in the middle of that line. What it does is that it enable you to break the line into two segments. So that is basically the function of anchor line, or the definition of anchor point. Sorry, why am I saying this anchor line? Okay, it works the same ways with the curve line. So if you pick your pen tools again, and then you position it in between it on the selected line, you started to at the anchor point, and that will affect the handles as well. And if you go into direct selection tool, you can basically move this anchor point. Alright, it's particularly useful when you have like a very smooth line, but you don't want it to be smooth. You want it to, you want to break the line into a few curves. So go to go to the pen tools and then select the lines, and now you can add one more anchor points, and you can move it, and then you have like new waves or whatnot. Right, so that's another functions of pen tools. Now, as we can add anchor line, we can also delete anchor lines. Did I just say anchor line again? I mean anchor point. Okay, so for example, right, you have this few anchor point, so you want to delete these anchor points. So just go to the anchor point, and then before this we have a plus symbol. Right now we have a minus symbol. That means you can minus that point, and it works the same ways with the what do you call it? It works the same way with the curve line. So if you go to the anchor point, and then there is a minus, like a dash symbol next to the cursor, then you can click it, and it will delete the anchor point. Alright, so just like how we discussed, if you go back to the thumbnail, or the icon of the pen tools, and you click it and you hold it, then you started to see a different function of the pen tools. It's the same things. You can add anchor point by using like exclusive adding anchor point tools, I guess. So just by that, you can add more anchor point on the line, right? But then you're not gonna able to create new line with this with this function. You also can have like a delete anchor point function as well. There's another function which is anchor point tools. Now this anchor point tools function is to change the anchor point, whether it's gonna be a straight anchor point like edge anchor point, or the one with the handle, right, the one that produce the curves. Okay, so this one is also require a little bit of practice for you to get used to, because there is a two type of anchor point as we go through now, which is the one that produce edge and the one that produce curve, right? So both of them are anchor point. It's just that one of them have the handle, another one does not have handle, therefore it doesn't produce any curve. And that's it. That's the pen tools for you. I guess I'll see you guys on the next video then.